Coming up on National Focus,
public servants benefit from customer service training program.
And another centenarian added to the ever-growing list on the island. Hello, I'm Fontaine. Welcome to National Focus.
And I am Tarnia Green. Thanks for joining us.
Topping the headlines, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit leads a delegation to the inaugural session of the OECS Assembly.
And GIS News speaks with one public servant who has already begun to see the benefits of a customer service training program.
All these stories and more when National Focus returns. Among the major developments, the inaugural session of the OECS Assembly is to take place at the Parliament building of Antigua and Barbuda on Friday, August 10th, 2012. This milestone event will include such highlights as the inspection of the Guard of Honor by the Governor-General of Antigua and Barbuda, accompanied by the OECS Chairman, and the election of the First Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the OECS Assembly. The inaugural session of the OECS Assembly will also feature addresses by host Prime Minister Baldwin Spencer of Antigua and Barbuda, Chairman of the OECS, Prime Minister Honorable Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Honorable Reuben Meade, Premier of Montserrat, who will address the ceremony on behalf of the non-independent member states, and an address by a representative of the political opposition in the OECS. The OECS Assembly will comprise 5 members of the Parliament of each independent member state and 3 members from the legislature of each non-independent member state, with representation from both the ruling administration and the political opposition. Antigua and Barbuda will serve as the headquarters of the OECS Assembly. However, the OECS Assembly may hold meetings in other member states. The OECS Assembly, which will meet at least twice per year, is one of 5 principal organs established by the revised Treaty of Bastia, establishing the OECS Economic Union, and is one of the new organs of the OECS. Dominica's Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit will lead a delegation of government officials to Friday's inaugural session of the OECS Parliament to Antigua.
And as part of measures to reform the public service, the government of Dominica has undertaken a consultation to improve the customer service and complaint systems within the public service. Vern Leslie is Administrative Cadet of the Reform Management Unit. She explained the purpose of the program.
In July 2012, the government of Dominica, represented by the Establishment Personnel and Training Department, signed a contract with Trevor Hamilton Associates of Jamaica to undertake a consultancy to develop customer service charters and complaint mechanisms for various government departments. The agencies of government that are expected to benefit from these trainings are the Establishment Personnel and Training Department, the Customs and Excise Division, the Physical Planning Division, Lands and Service Division, Housing Division, the Ministry of Health, in particularly the Princess Margaret Hospital.
Leslie further stated that the government found it essential to improve the level of customer service offered to the public.
The government felt that this project or this consultancy was necessary because they saw the need of improving the level of customer service that are given to different clients that normally visit the registry, the housing division. So in an effort to improve the level of service that government employees give to customers, they saw that it was necessary to organize a series of training for these different agencies.
According to Dr. Ben Henry, customer services consultant with Trevor Hamilton and Associates, his organization is one of the major consultants in the Caribbean. Dr. Henry noted that part of his work here is to train managers so that at the end of the program, they will be better able to coach their own staff. In his opinion, the sessions have been much appreciated by the trainees.
I think I am absolutely convinced, that the participants will embrace this new program. Because the concept of what's in it for me, I've been driving that home. What will customer service do to you? Customer service training to do as an individual is going to enhance your professionalism, is going to make you more self-confident, and you'll be delivering the kind of service that your customers want. So the participants, are very enthused about it. That's what I've been. That's the impression I've been getting. I've been telling me that too. So I think we're on the right track.
Marinese Teet works within the Ministry of Health, and she feels that she has already begun to benefit from the seminars.
I think that this training is an excellent one. Personally, I think it will enhance the way in which I deal with the public. And because when the customers come to us, they want to be sure that they are getting what they come for. They need to have service that is reliable. So they have a certain level of trust in us, and so we must deliver. I also think too that the kind of response that we give to the customers will either allow them to be satisfied or allow them to even criticize the organization even more. This workshop is also helping me to understand better that I must empathize with the customers when they come.
Tit also stated that she, along with other participants, is satisfied with the structure and atmosphere of the training.
I think it's going very well. I think the facilitator is well trained and in his expertise, and a lot of the examples and that he gives, we can identify with them. And I think that is very, very good because looking around the room, I see different, people from Ministry of Health, and, their nods and their yes and their applause. You can see that, they are really getting something out of it. So I think the workshop is timely and looking forward to the next phase.
Vern Leslie of the Reform Management Unit says this consultation is expected to yield great results.
Dominica welcomed yet another centenarian last Thursday. Pennville's Christabel Royer celebrates 100 years of life.
We now join Jana Hector for that report.
In a city atop a hill overlooking the jewel-toned Caribbean Sea, hundreds turn out in colors and with wide smiles to celebrate with Dominica's latest centenarian, Christabel Royer. Christabel Royer, née George, turned 100 on August 2nd in Pennville, a city on a hill. And although Ma Christabel is wheeled about on a chair because her arms and legs are frail, her personality is far from it. Ma Christabel was born and raised in Pennville, the last child of Gillian Parillor and Richard George. Plaiting straw and making brooms was Ma Christabel's profession for most of her life. And after attending the Vacas Primary School, she made her skill a career and sold straw brooms. Ma Christabel had one son, Maurice O'Dane, before she married her love, Norbert Royer, at the age of 36 and settled into her role as a wife and a mother in the community of her birth. Norbert and Ma Christabel had 2 children together, Martha and Clement Royer, before her husband passed on after 41 years of marriage. From 3 children, Ma Christabel is the proud grandmother of 14, great-grandmother of 22, and great-great-grandmother of 2. Not a bad legacy for any mother. Usually, one wonders what knowledge a centenarian must hold. We're always curious about what life was like 100 years ago on our island, how it feels to join the ranks of those who have been alive for a century, and how far back a centenarian's memories go. Somebody must ask those tough questions. But before question time could come around last Thursday at the church service, one was answered. According to Father Tarimo, parish priest of the area, Ma Christabel's memory is astonishing since she is able to remember her first communion in 1921.
Ask her whether she remembers when she made the first communion, whether she made first communion or no. She said, yes, I made the first communion. And something very interesting she told me is, those days you were to make the first communion and the second communion. So can you imagine? She had all those memories. And then I felt that I could talk and speak more to make her speak, so that she can give me all she can say. So she said yes. She also remembers one thing. Something she remembers, she told me that she remembered the name, just one name of one of her catechists. And she said her name was Maria. She never remembered another thing. And so the records indicate that Maria Latai and Luce Remy were catechists around 1920s. And that is the time that she received her sacraments, because we are told that she received the first communion on the 6th of March, 1921.
Ma Christabel is not a woman of few words. Following the toast and birthday songs, she had some things to say regarding her life as a dedicated and hardworking mother.
Christabel Royer, Penville, il travaille autant. Il chaye figue plein âme. Il chaye Thibault. Il chaye Gontance. Il trouve pile pour un petit journée aller là, c'était 10 Noël. Moi fait vieux case, moi fait d'Odan, moi fait on latte, pour moi c'est ça occuper ces enfants là. Pas tenir journée pour moi aller là. C'était un chile, mais c'est mon choisi, yo de caché pour travailler ba yo. Nous mêmes femmes là, c'est bonnes femmes qui pas qu'à mettre la main yo sur l'estomac yo travail yo ni bon garde. Pour moi c'est occupé garder les fait une journée c'est moi pour occuper ces enfants là. Voyez l'école, ben yo ba yo manger pour yo l'école en haut.
As a very religious woman, she attributed her successes and survival to God. Interestingly enough, much was said that day about the blessings that the elderly can impart to others, and Ma Christabel had some to bestow on the Honorable Prime Minister Skerrit, who spent some time at her house as a boy and attended her birthday celebrations.
Papa mon Dieu que bah la force avec moi, il voulait tuer, mais papa mon Dieu que tu peux Lord have mercy, cry us, il a gardé pour nous avant moi la fini, nous $, nous a point pain crédit, nous a point si crédit, nous a point livre. Papa mon Dieu que ouvert chemin et que ouvert toi pour yo pas ni tuer. God is good.
That leaves another question lingering in our minds. How does 100 feel? Well, Ma Christabel says it feels divine.
Aujourd'hui mon cas santé moi mi-temps-ciel. Puis mon tout étranger. Et moi ni tous enfants moi appuyé moi ka garder ka occuper.
Ma Christabel has a very humble way of saying that she did nothing special to attain centenarian status. She attributes it to her God who helps her to be kind, willing to serve others, optimistic and opportunistic. Her advice to young people? Well, it leaves one thinking of that wise wife whose price is far above rubies.
Travail, pas respiration non plus. Léopard ni on savon pour aimer le monde mort, savon pour aimer le monde petit gaz on taxe bas carbone. Help nom là, quand ça là on help nom là que fait nom. Puis moi même te ka faire ma moi sauter. Les comprendre ma non bité moi ni et moi pas ka faire vieux commerce, mais moi te ka travail à tout c'est là moi passer à tout c'est tout ce qu'on
It might be that sort of thinking that causes her children and children's children to be so entirely devoted to her. Her daughter and primary caretaker, Martha, was unable to hide the pride and love glowing on her face when she described the type of person that her mother is.
She's a loving lady. She's a prayerful lady. She's very peaceful. And she likes to pray a lot. At times when I go garden, wherever I go, and she does see me come in, she have to pray and say, Papa God, send Martha for me, because it's two of us that is in the house. So whatever happened to her, I will not be able to do it. She telling me, but Papa God, hear me, man. As I just call Papa God on your behalf, is so I see you.
Ma Christabel's son Clement sees his mother as a wise advisor.
Most times when I have certain issues, you cleave to your mother for help, for advice. And she's one of them that would sit me, and we would relate to each other as mother and son. And I love her for that. She's the kind of person that I was always happy, discussing anything with her.
Ma Christabel's grandson and his friends chose to put their feelings into song.
You're 100, that's a century. In Penville, we call that history. You made us proud, friends and family, and I'm so proud of my grandmommy. With the help of your children and great-grand, we all knew that was your pledge. Tears in our eyes, joy in our hearts, we all love you. And that's a fact, we take the time off to acknowledge you, and we don't know what it's like to walk in your shoes.
With the exception of Ma Pampo, whose diet consisted of mainly dumplings, Ma Christabel, like most centenarians, prefers to eat local. She's not afraid of hard work or serving others. It would be a bit negligent if we fail to observe the trend that is obvious. The mystery of longevity on this island is beginning to get a bit clearer. Eat local, work hard, and always be willing to help somebody else. What else could it be? At least that's what Dominican centenarians believe, all 27 of them.
Thank you, Jana, for that report. And while we're on the subject, I must say Dominica seems to be creating a multitude of centenarians. Don't you agree?
Yes, I do agree. Pearl, only this year we've already had 8 centenarians, and the numbers are increasing. I recall back in the early 2000s, the hype about centenarians started with Elizabeth Mapampo Israel. At the time, she was celebrating her 127th birthday. And it was a very, very celebration. Yes. And certainly over the years, we've seen quite a number of centenarians in Dominica, and we've been branded as the island of longevity. That's right. And many persons have been curious as to what is it that is allowing so many Dominicans to live the ripe old age of 100.
Well, I seem to think part of it has to do with the diet, the richness of our foods, the drinks. I mean, a lot of these centenarians tend to eat, provisions. I mean, and I'm starting now to eat the same thing because I want to live to 100 years old. But this brings me to the thought, government is doing a lot for these centenarians. So, I mean, we can get into that.
Most definitely, Pearl. I mean, you will appreciate that recently the government announced that each centenarian will be afforded $500 a month to go towards, their daily expenses. Right. And you might have recalled as well that Petrocaribe had this initiative where they're offering the centenarians a tank of gas for the rest of their lives.
That's right. And let's not forget that some of these centenarians are also beneficiaries of the Yes We Care program. So, hats off to our government for taking the initiative to take care of our centenarians.
Definitely.
In more news, the Dominica State College will, during the next 2 weeks, host the 4th edition of its International Taxation in the Caribbean Context course. The program is an initiative of the Department of Continuing Education and over the past 4 years has received increased support from private sector companies.
The ITCC course makes it possible for Dominican professionals to be globally current in competence. The tax perspective, a concept discussed in great depth and breadth in the ITCC, demands that our professionals invest continuously in lifelong learning. It is the only way we can be assured of Dominica's readiness for sustainable competitiveness on the world's stage.
Dominican-born, U.S.-based tax expert Professor Vaughn James is the facilitator of the 2-week course.
Over the next 2 weeks, we will determine for ourselves, are we truly emancipated? Because we need to understand the terms that are being used today. We need to understand globalism, and we'll talk about globalism. We need to understand globalization, and we'll talk about globalization. We need to understand the term tax harmonization, and we shall spend some time talking about tax harmonization. And oh, by all means, we need to understand the term harmful tax competition, which is what we were accused of. But by the way, when I say we, I speak as a Dominican. Forget about the fact I carry an American passport, but I speak as a Dominican. So we were accused of harmful tax competition, and we have to understand that over the next few weeks. So over the next week, I said few weeks, actually it's 2 weeks. Over the next 2 weeks, between now and next week, Friday, we'll talk a lot about things that as we open our minds, we can truly achieve emancipation.
Since 2002, the Department of Continuing Education of the Dominica State College has conceived and delivered practical sessions for a number of stakeholders in Dominica. These include professionals from local companies and enterprises, employees of specific companies, as well as private individuals who are expanding their wealth of knowledge and skills.
Together, we must develop Dominica's human resource capacity to the point where it commands the full respect of all internationally. And the Dominica State College is committed to playing its part in that regard.
And that's the English segment of the news. We now join McPherson St. Luce for the Creole highlights.
Alors tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, division physical planning en collaboration et puis Banque la Terre, tient un workshop pour faire et puis management géospatial. Ça c'est une manière pour combattre les affaires des désastres et puis comment il peut affecter le développement au pays, et spécialement dominé. Plusieurs officiers de divers départements gouvernement en parmi d'autres attendent des workshops là qui prennent place en hôtel Fortune GDM. Ministère pour environ Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darum, chef officier planning Annie Edwards et puis officier Banque la Terre fait présentation pour te ouvert workshop aujourd'hui. Ministère environ Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darum en parole et délivré dit que workshop là garde bagaille mitigation des as en dominé.
Nous allons servir technologie pour taper toute information, tout whole Dominique. Et information ça qui montre nous information climatique, information globale, avec toute qualité de risque qui est associée avec cela. So ça qui va faire avec nous information ça qui nous collecte. Parce que nous avons toutes ces différentes agences gouvernementales ici, tout le monde qui cherche pour faire le management, natural resources et land management ici. Et ça nous espère que cette information ça nous allons taper au workshop ça nous ça servi pour nous voir comment nous allons avancer le programme ça. Climate resilience strategy nous avons tapé un commitment au World Bank là que nous allons taper et puis l'argent. Et ce projet là nous a identifié pour faire, c'est pour mettre le programme ça en place.
Alors, le State College Dominica conduit course pour faire des affaires taxes internationales. Un officier qui est bien au courant et puis suggeste là, Dr. Vaughn James, qui a facilité le programme là qui commence à l'occasion d'ISC en la Coudouin. Plusieurs monde ont différents départements qui attendent le workshop là. Qui a couru pour des semaines tous les jours, c'est pour 8 ans.
Les taxations internationales qu'on a calculées contre la place Caraïbe là. Alors, nous avons parlé contre toute qualité de bitin qui a arrivé sur la terre là. Nous avons globalisation, globalism, nous avons tax harmonization, toute qualité de parole comme ça qui nous attend. Et bien nous avons dit, ça, moun ka dit là, yo dit bah comme ça. Pour des semaines, nous avons assisé. Et nous avons parlé contre ces bagages là pour nous comprendre ça et comment ils ont affecté la Dominique et tout le monde en la Dominique et en la Caraïbe.
Généralement, c'est international comme taxe.
Eh bien, Moun qui est trouvé ospeya en classe là, qui y pas ni qui international tax. Nous pas de possibilité international tax. Ça c'est tout petit pays et gros pays, tout pays ni un système qui y a taxe ces moun là qui ka rester là. Et puis là on prend tout ça ensemble et puis pays assise et puis on fait treaty et on fait convention. Then nous avons tapé quelque chose qui est international tax. So international tax c'est quelque chose nous pouvons calculer ça tout pays qui a fait. Comment ça un pays qui a affecté un autre pays et nous prenons ça ensemble et nous trouvons international tax.
Dr. James mentionnait comment globalisation n'est pas fait et puis taxe internationale.
La terre c'est comme un village à présent. On quelque chose qui est arrivé à Japon, ça a affecté nous à Dominique. Quelque chose qui est arrivé en Sud-Afrique, ça a affecté nous à Dominique. Comment nous avons fait en Dominique pour nous soit interact et puis c'est monde là Japon et en Sud-Afrique. C'est ça qui est globalisation et c'est ça qui a affecté international tax.
On a trouvé officier copyright McPherson qui a fait parole différentes catégories pour faire et puis affaires copyright. Si l'homme monsieur Marine, artiste supposé connaître droit qui concerne copyright.
Ce qui a pour du copyright, c'est pour faire meilleur effort pour connaître qui doit y comme producteur de bail qui n'est droit d'auteur. Et c'est un deuxième bail, c'est insister les gens qui ont cassé droit pour dire les gens arrêter, si vous ne pas arrêter, nous allons mener au tribunal tout de suite. Parce que si n'importe qui n'a pas de droit et puis va défendre lui, il perd tout de suite. Il faut défendre n'importe qui doit gouvernement, Nations Unies, si vous ne pas défendre lui ou perdre lui.
Et puis finalement, le gouvernement Dominique par Discover Dominica Authority et Festival Committee qui a complimenté Mademoiselle Nadira Lando pour gagner une grande compétition GIS en Antigua. Sinon, on parole qui sorti, Lando fait Dominique bien souhaité pour gagner une compétition. Lando est bienvenu retourner en pays la Jordéa et puis en réception qui était tient en l'honneur basse avion Melville Hall et puis aussi en réception en pays Kalinago. Il était aussi né en réception en l'honneur en hôtel Fort Young. Plusieurs officiers en parmi chairman DFC Colin Piper et chef DFC Nathalie Clark made tout one parole bon compliment pour Mademoiselle Lando. Gouvernement Dominique par Discover Dominica Authority et puis Festival Comité Dominique qui a souhaité Mademoiselle Lando bon succès en temps pour venir. Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non moins, c'est McPherson Luce. Au revoir.
Up next is the tip of the day.
Let your spirit take to flight. Let your heart run free and wild. Find your soul in Dominica, the nature isle.
Well, Pearl, in today's tip, we'll discuss how developing multiple passions can help you become more cheerful. The more passions and desires one has, the more ways one has to be happy.
Isn't that the truth? So not only should you discover your multiple passions, you should also expand yourself to new interests. This way, you will create new paths toward your happiness.
Well, the key to expanding new passions is curiosity. If you are curious, you will have an endless stream of exciting things awaiting for you.
And that's National Focus. As usual, we invite your suggestions or comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm, or you can visit our website at news.gov.dm.
Or you can visit our Dominica GIS page on both YouTube and Facebook.
On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Pearl Fontaine.
And I'm Tarnia Green. Thanks for watching.